There's this weird moment that happens when you get older where you kind of look around and realize nobody's coming to tell you what to do anymore. Like there's no adultier adult, I guess if that's a word, walking in to fix everything. You're the adult now. And when I look back, I kind of think to myself, damn, what was the day that everything changed? I'm sitting here, 27 years old, realizing for the last 10 years, I have not asked anybody to do anything. I really do whatever I want. You can have a job, pay bills, schedule your own appointments, deal with insurance, grocery shop, worry about rent, and still feel like you're pretending. It's almost like adulthood kind of came into the mail one day, but the instructions were missing. You're doing all the things an adult is supposed to do, but inside, we're still thinking, how did I get here? Who trusted me with all this? I think that's something people feel, but don't really say out loud. No one actually feels as grown as they thought they would. When you're younger, adults kind of seem like they have everything figured out. Parents, teachers, coaches, siblings, cousins, whoever it was, they all seem like they knew how life worked. They knew who to call, where to go, what paperwork mattered, how to talk to people, how to solve problems, and how to stay calm when everything went wrong. Then you get older and realize they were winging it just as much as you are now. That realization is kind of comforting, but also kind of scary. As a kid, you think adulthood is this clear destination. I remember back then I thought one day that I'll wake up and just feel different. I'll feel confident, prepared, know how money works, career works, how taxes work. I still don't know how those work. Health insurance, also don't know how that works. And how not to panic when your car starts making noise you've never heard before. But that day really never comes. You don't become an adult all at once. You just slowly collect more responsibilities until one day you just realize your life is mostly made up of things you have to handle. One day you're worried about school, video games, friends, and what you're doing this weekend. And somehow you blink and you're checking your bank account before buying food, trying to figure out if your tires can last another month, wondering if you're behind in life, and pretending like you understand how the fuck you do taxes. That's the weird part about growing up. It doesn't feel like a transformation. It almost just feels like the same version of you. You just have more problems and responsibilities you somehow got handed over the years. I think one of the reasons why nobody feels like an adult anymore is because the old version of adulthood, one that our parents and grandparents, grew up through, really doesn't feel realistic for a lot of people now. For a long time, there was at least a basic path people expected to follow. Graduate, get a job, buy a house, get married, have kids, and settle down. Obviously, it wasn't perfect for everybody, and I'm not saying life was easy back then. It was. But there was a structure people understood. Everything feels wide open now, which sounds good, but also makes life way more confusing. You can go to college, skip college, work a trade, start a business, work remote, move away, stay home, make content, get certifications, switch careers, a whole bunch of things that didn't even exist 10 years ago. Having options is nice, but sometimes too many options make you feel like you're consistently choosing wrong. No matter what path you take, there's always another one you could have taken. If you go to college, you wonder if you wasted money. If you don't go, you wonder if you're behind. If you work a normal job, you wonder if you should be working something on the side. It feels like no matter what you do, there's always this voice in the back of your head saying you should do more. And social media makes that feeling so much worse. I don't know if you guys are anything like me. You can be having a normal day, feeling really mostly fine about your life. Then you open up your phone and immediately feel like you're losing. Somebody your age just bought a house. Somebody younger than you is making six figures. Somebody's getting married, traveling the world. Maybe they're in crazy shape. Maybe they quit their job and somehow everything just magically worked for them. And even though people only post the good parts, it still gets to you. You can tell yourself it's fake. You can tell yourself it's curated. You can tell yourself nobody posts their worst moments, but it still makes you compare. It makes your own life feel smaller than it actually really is. That's what makes adulthood feel so strange now. You're not comparing yourself to people around you anymore. You're comparing yourself to everybody. You could have a decent job, pay your bills, save money, be doing completely fine, but online it can still feel like you're behind. It makes normal life really feel like a failure. And really, I think a lot of people around my age and even a little bit younger feel that exact same feeling. They feel like they should be further along. They should have more money saved, better job, nicer place. They should be waking up early, eating clean, investing, all kinds of things, and somehow still having fun. And when they don't have all that, they start feeling like they're not really adults yet. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've confused being adult with having everything perfectly together. We act like adulthood means you stop being confused, maybe insecure, stop making mistakes, and suddenly become this calm, responsible person who always knows the right move. I don't think that's really real. I don't really think anybody gets to that point and just stays there forever. Adulthood is more about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel ready. It's going to work when you're tired, paying the bills when you'd rather spend money on something else, maybe making a phone call you've been avoiding. It's taking care of your car, apartment, health, relationships, and all the boring stuff nobody sees. That's something really nobody tells you when you're younger. A lot of adulthood is really just maintenance. When you're a kid, adulthood feels like freedom. You can do what you want, go where you want, buy what you want, all those things. And that part really is true, but then you realize freedom has a price tag. You can do what you want, but you also have to pay for it. You can make your own choices, but you have to deal with the consequences. You can ignore your problems, but usually they just come back worse and more expensive. Technically, yeah, you're in charge of your life, but half the time it feels like you're just trying to keep everything from falling apart. I can tell you now that I think more people feel that way than they'd like to admit. Someone can have a good job and still feel like they're winging it. Someone can be married and still feel like they're not old enough for that kind of responsibility. Someone can own a house, have kids, a career, and still have moments when they're like, how the hell am I the adult in this situation? That feeling doesn't just magically disappear because you hit a certain age. I think people just get better at hiding it. The people who seem most grown probably don't have everything figured out either. They've just really learned how to stay calm while figuring it out. Honestly, that really might just be what maturity really is. It's not about knowing everything. It's about being able to deal with the fact that you don't. It's admitting when you messed up. It's asking for help when you need it. Taking advice without getting defensive, maybe apologizing when you're wrong. It's continuing to show up even when life doesn't look like the way you thought it should. A lot of people, I think, struggle with that. They're not actually failing in life. They're just maybe disappointed that adulthood doesn't feel the way they expected it to feel. You think by a certain age you'll be more confident, have more money, maybe know exactly what you want to do. You think your life will really just feel more complete. Then you get to that age and realize you're still figuring it out. And that can make you feel maybe behind, but it doesn't mean you failed. I really think that's just life. Nobody knows what they're doing the first time they go through something, their first real job, first apartment, big bill, the first time something breaks and nobody's there to help you fix it. You don't just randomly become ready first and then handle life. You handle life and eventually become more ready for those circumstances. That's probably why so many people feel stuck between being a kid and being an adult. Because deep down, you still remember who you used to be. You still remember being younger, having less pressure, responsibility, and less to worry about. But now you're expected to be this fully grown person. Inside, you still feel like the same person you've always been. You still have doubts, still get overwhelmed. You still want someone to tell you what the right move is, but you still have moments in life where you wish you would slow down for a second so you could catch up. I think that's normal. Feeling unsure doesn't necessarily mean you're not an adult. And feeling behind doesn't mean you're failing. A lot of adulthood is just learning in that current time. You mess something up, you fix it, you try again, and slowly you get better at handling life. Not all at once, not in some dramatic movie moment, just little by little. You get better with money, you get better at setting boundaries, you get better at realizing that nobody's coming to save you, but also you're more capable than you thought. So maybe being an adult isn't this fancy thing you unlock one day. Maybe it's just a bunch of small decisions, doing what you said you were going to do, taking care of stuff you don't feel like taking care of, owning your mistakes instead of blaming someone else, trying to build a life that actually feels like yours, even if you're still not completely sure what that looks like. So if you don't feel like you're an adult, I don't think you're alone. Actually, I know you're not alone. I think most people are just better at hiding it. Everybody is figuring it out as they go. Some people just look more confident while doing it. And maybe the goal isn't to finally reach this point where you feel grown forever. Maybe the goal is to stop waiting for that feeling and realize that you're already doing it. Even if it feels messy, even if you're confused, even if you're still feeling behind. You're not failing at being an adult. You're just learning how to be one.